guys, what's up? Welcome to another video. So this is basically going off of my childhood and what it was like growing up with autism. And I had no clue that's what was wrong with me. You know, I just thought I was a very big weirdo just going through the motions. I had a lot of issues. And this is basically going off of slight stories I remember as a kid, and then stories that my mother has told me. I did ask my sister if she remembered anything. She hasn't got back to me, but she is like 6 years younger than me, so I don't know if she really remember anything that's useful. And I didn't ask my dad, because I'm not even sure if he knew what was wrong with me. And I'm not even sure my mom, like, knew all of it. Like, she knew the diagnoses, but even to this day, she does not get it. Like, she gets surprised if I tell her something, and I don't know if she just doesn't remember or what, you know? And I didn't ask my dad because for the reason of him maybe not knowing, but he did kind of like compare me to other kids growing up, and he thought I definitely got the memo that he thought I was weird and that he knew that I was not like other kids because he would tell me why I can't be more like them, and you know, but he grew out of that eventually because, you know, there was no fixing me. I was pretty unfixable. I don't think anything was gonna change. By the time I was older, I did get a little better and more aware. Okay, so I'm just gonna point that out. Back then, there was like, it was in sections. So I was like PDD, which I think is pervasive developmental disorder, and then above that was Asperger's, and under that was autism. So basically I was high functioning, but not like Asperger's, I don't know. But from the Harkla article I read not that long ago, apparently there's 5, and I thought there was only 3 levels. Anyways, I'll get into that in another video on the levels and what I understand with it, because I don't want this video too long. Now, growing up, I was a weirdo, straightly put. My mom's stories make me sound total psychotic, but I also was diagnosed with schizophrenia when I was younger. So I like seen things, heard things, loud noises made me escape. I also was an eloper, I'm not gonna lie, I do remember that. Now I want to pinpoint that not all autistic people do not want friends. In my case, I wanted at least one friend because everybody was just so mean to me. I got extremely bullied as a kid because I was different, and therefore I looked for one person that, you know, I could connect with that wouldn't be mean to me. I do remember one time that I ran away from home. Well, I didn't run away, I just kind of like straggled too far because I was knocking on people's doors looking for a friend if they had any kids. But then after that, I didn't know what to do. You know, I didn't know how to act around people. I didn't know how to talk to them, and I didn't know how to make friends. So yeah, we want friends, we just don't know how. So there's that part of it. My mom did tell me a story where we were in a store and she was trying to put on my hood, and I started yelling, "Don't tie me up, don't tie me up, don't tie me up." And everybody just like looked at her like, what in the world? I'm sorry, Mom. Very sorry. Anyway, she also said that I would run away, and one time she literally had to catch me by my hair and pull me out so I wouldn't get ran over. I mean, the way you think of it, it was child abuse, but really it was for my own safety so I didn't get killed. Even as an adult, I have these problems. She has had to pull me out of the way because I was not paying attention. She also told me about how I would make my bed. I would do it forever, trying to get out every wrinkle, which I kind of still, I like didn't go away from. I just don't make my bed because that's why. So I would spend hours doing this. She told me I dropped to the ground, I went in circles, and I flapped my arms, and one time I thought I was Peter Pan, and I was going to climb to the highest surface and fly off like Tinkerbell. But luckily she stopped me. Yep. I do remember stimming a lot. Like, my stims have changed over the course of time, but I did not know what that was. I would literally be lying in bed, and I guess it's called a visual stim, and I would move my hands and do this for hours. Not even lying. I mean, I don't do it so much anymore, but I do remember doing that. And I would be in like a trance, and next thing I know, it would be a couple hours later. So that was weird. If any more stories come up from my mom, she's gonna let me know, and there may be a part 2 of this. But she is old, I am old, and it's kind of hard to remember clear back then. Like I said, I was pretty much made fun of. One thing during the making this video I forgot to mention is I never learned to tie my shoes. People tried to teach me how to do like the loopy-doo-loop or whatever they do, but I never learned, and I still can't wrap my head around it. I mean, I do tie my shoes, it's just different than everybody else's. So it's just like 2 pieces of the string and then turn it into a bow type of thing. There ain't no like loopy-doo around the tree type of fancy-mancy stuff. I also didn't get a joke until I was 7, and she didn't specifically say if I didn't smile or anything, but she said I didn't get a joke till 7, and that the one joke I got off of was from number 5, about the joke that the actual alien gets about a human or something, and I just started laughing. So at least I finally got something. And I've always been a pretty literal person, but now I'm more of a sarcastic person. But I also do at times take things pretty literal, if that makes sense. And then teachers told me that if they couldn't do anything for me because they had to see what the kid was doing, but when they seen it, they wouldn't do anything. So I kind of got mean after a while. I can't remember how psycho I was before this, but I do remember this particular time, because then I started beating up the teachers. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna freaking take on everybody if everybody's just gonna let this happen to me. I mean, where we lived, there was a bunch of kids, and they all basically lived on the street behind me. And I would try to be their friend, you know. Every once in a while, most of the time I would be locked in my room doing my own thing, but every once in a while I would come out and I would try to be friends. Well, one minute they would act like my friend, the next thing they're throwing things at me, so that didn't go so well. And I have had a lot of well, they're not friends, people act like my friends through the years and then change over time with what other people think just because I'm weird. I do have a couple friends that I've had since like childhood and high school that seem to get me now. So if they see me stemming or rocking or whatever the heck I am doing, they don't really think anything of it, you know. I'm just normal to them, which is nice to finally have that, but I did not have that most of my childhood. I did end up in a I don't know if it's a group home or not. I don't even know what you would call it. I've actually ended up in 2. There is a place here called Orchard Place that I was kind of confined in for a while, and I think it was like 2 or 3 times I ended up in there. And then one time they tried to completely keep me from my mom, but she fought it and got me back. And then I ended up in a hospital ward for a while. I do want to point out around this time though, They did tell my mom that I would not be able to do anything for myself, that I wouldn't be able to dress myself, that I wouldn't be able to take care of myself, and that I wouldn't be able to live as an independent person on my own, which is probably why they did try to keep me that one time. But my mom said if she would have treated me like that, then I probably wouldn't have. To this day, I do have some complications, but for the most part, I am pretty independent. So, things can improve if you have an autistic child and this is being told to you. So, there is some hope. Which I don't remember a lot through these courses of period of time. But at the first one, I do remember that there was like a school underneath that we went to. And if I was good, I would get stars. And I could use those to play Super Nintendo because I like my games, not even gonna lie. And that actually works for me. But these two plus the school I ended up in during middle school, like 5th grade to 8th grade, they all had lockups. And I was kind of out of hand, so I remember being in lockup quite a bit. The first home, though, actually, if I was in there at mealtime, they brought the meal in. In my school, there was one time where I was flipping out, and I'm surprised I even remember this. I was having like a meltdown, and I was in there, and I threw a shoe at this mirror because it had like a mirror at the top. And a freaking wasp popped out. Oh my god. So that made me melt down even more. And they would not let me out. And I was freaking going psycho. They finally let me out. And I can't remember why they let me out. But at least I got away from the wasp, you know? I did have a lot of meltdowns as a kid. I'm not even going to lie. They were quite a bit. That's what ended me up in these homes in this special school. I had them quite often. It seemed like a couple times a week. Now as an adult, I mean, I can't say I don't have them at all now, but I have more shutdowns now than I do meltdowns. And I've done a video on meltdowns before, but keep in mind at the time, or most of my adulthood, I didn't even know that's what those were. And then I didn't know that it was called a shutdown, what I do now. Because I didn't even know what I was until adulthood. And can you imagine going through life like this, not knowing what the heck you are? It's pretty traumatizing. And a meltdown just, I don't know. I like lose total control and I can't control anything. And the next thing I know, things are beat up, stuff is broken. It's kind of like a blackout. And like my body's on fire and I got like this trembling thing. I don't even know how to explain it. It's really weird. So I do remember doing that. So now I try to calm myself so I don't break my stuff because replacing them is expensive. I try really, really hard. And if I feel like I'm going on a meltdown, I gotta go somewhere. And I basically rock for a while, I guess, and hold my ears. And I hide so people don't see me because, you know, it's not a total normal thing to do. I try really hard to act normal when in public, and it's just, whew. I'm trying to think what else, because there's like gaps too, because I also had epilepsy and it like fried a lot of my brain, so I'm surprised I remember any of this. And I was very, very mean to my sister. I don't know why, and I don't remember why, and I just remember always freaking out on her. And I feel really bad about it. So, yeah. And the good thing about getting mean when people were mean to me is they finally left me alone. But then it started up again in high school, but by that time I was toned down. Like, I was not very aware of anything as a kid. That's why it's kind of a blur. I didn't know why I did, what I did it, or it just like happened. It was not all there. I was in my own little world. But when I became 16, or well, not when I became 16, but a little like around 16 and up, I got more and more aware. It's like the symptoms subsided and calmed down some. And I don't know why. And then but also around that time is when I started masking. But I didn't know that's what it was called. I just knew I was trying to look and act normal so I didn't have any more bullies. I did not want any more people being mean to me. I wanted people just to leave me the hell alone by that point. I didn't care if I had any friends. I didn't want anything. I just wanted to stay in my room, play games, and never come out is basically what I ended up doing. So I was like more aware, but more isolating around that age and up. But that's like any teenager, I guess. But I'm still like that, so it just could be because I'm a loner and I just like to be alone. I'm also an introvert, so I actually have to be away from people to recharge. So there's that. I mean, I guess that's about the gist of it. I was just a natural born weirdo. And I'm not saying all autistics are psychic, okay? This is just my experience, and I was a psycho. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I was a psycho. And I do remember when I was locked away in the first institution, if that's what you call it. I don't know. I do vaguely remember hearing voices, and they were kind of scary. And every once in a while, I do like hear my name called and stuff. So I don't know if that's just me going back down that road or if that's a normal thing. But they were pretty ongoing when I was younger. So I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know how normal that is. So I do still have some symptoms of that, but like I'm not a crazy person now. I'm just chill, you know, chill. Any questions you have for me, I will answer the best of my abilities, but this is basically me as a child. I didn't find out what I actually was until like 21 because it was in my medical records because I signed up for something and it came back all that was wrong with me, and there was like a list of things I didn't even know were there. Including borderline personality disorder, which I have no clue what that is. I never really researched that. And then the PDD, which I had to do a lot of research on. I do vaguely remember my mom telling me a few years before this about PDD, but I didn't understand. And I guess I was not interested enough to look it up. So I was not like aware of that aspect. So this is like my experience and stuff, and let me know what you think in the comments below. And like I said, if you have any questions, I will try to answer them. I made this video because of Autism Awareness Month again, so this should be out soon. And until next time, bye guys.